Technically, the episode Dalek was the first episode I ever saw the show, but I only watched the second half of it. The first episode I actually watched from beginning to end was the lawn game. I remember watching it thinking, that was okay. I mean, it's not Dalek, but it was fine. But man, watching this episode again for this marathon, this was actually one of the episodes I was the least looking forward to. And I'm not entirely sure why. It has a few good conceptual ideas for storytelling as well as concepts for different types of characters that don't go anywhere. Following from the previous episode Dalek, the Doctor and Rose, now with tagged-along companion Adam Mitchell, played by Bruno Langley, arrive on board a space station known as Satellite 5 that broadcasts across the fourth great and bountiful human empire. However, humanity's growth seems to have been going wrong despite the increase of expanding in space. The technology and the Empire's attitude towards each other seems to be going backwards, with the possibility of humanity being manipulated by the news, and those who are promoted to floor 500 simply disappear. So it's up to the Doctor and his friends to discover the truth behind these occurrences being controlled by a mysterious editor played by Simon Pegg. As you can tell by that description, this was a tough episode for me to review. Not because the story itself, but the idea behind the story, or at least the capitalism in media. I get the idea of the satellite being corrupted by the Jagrafest to control the future of the human race. I guess you could say it's a social commentary on how big corporations corrupt and interfere with creative minds, or evidences to bad goings-ons being hidden or manipulated. Or that it is a satire on media, specifically the reliability of the stories and evidences provided being corrupted. That's a subject matter that is depressingly still kind of relevant today, if not on television, but on the internet. The issue is, the episode doesn't even seem to focus with that idea all the way through. Like, why not show the human race on the planet react to this capitalism? Or, at least, what is life on this bountiful human empire like? What's the change in humanity's discoveries? Are there any advantages or disadvantages? Just tell me something! Maybe it's because I'm not really an expert in this sort of thing. I wouldn't mind it since it is a fictional show, if this episode wasn't so boring. The story is boring, the characters are boring, the world building is boring, the sets look boring aside from a few good lighting and a few good lit scenes, as well as a few temperature atmospheric feel. To make it even worse, the monster is boring. It's just a blobby alien attached to the ceiling. Could have made it an interesting concept, but all it does is just shout monster grunts around. I'm not even sure how it even possesses its victims. Does it swallow them and then spit them out? Or does it spit out saliva all over their faces? In fact, how is this thing in charge of Satellite 5? And yes, let's talk about Adam Mitchell. Now, Bruno Langley's personal life aside, this is such a disappointing character. That is to say, he could have been interesting. I mean, a companion who goes against the Doctor's rules of time travel, trying to use it to their advantage. I don't know if we've ever seen that type of character, aside from maybe Turlo? This could have been a complex yet challenging idea, but everything Adam does in this story makes no sense. Oh, not the discovery of future knowledge in order to make money with computer science. I mean, how does he even think he's going to transfer this knowledge to his head through the phone? In fact, I feel like this role could have been filled in with someone like Mickey Smith, since he is Rose's boyfriend with a hard life. Oh yeah, and what did Rose do in this episode? I don't recall her doing anything in this aside from hang out with Adam, being a little bitchy for the most part, and get captured with the Doctor. Oh yeah, in fact, what did the Doctor do? He just gave exposition and got captured by the editor. Okay, that look he gave to Adam at the end of the episode was actually quite intimidating. Is there anything good to get off from this episode? Well, I do like the design of the satellite. If I was a kid and I had to draw a future satellite, this would be on the money. The concept of your brains being a hard drive to transfer knowledge and evidence is actually quite a nice idea. And yeah, they are fake to look at, they do actually look like they are actually on their heads. The only two characters I feel like really stole the episode were Simon Pegg and Tamsin Gregg. Both of these actors have a sense of charm and charisma to bring to what are clearly one-dimensionally written characters. Simon Pegg is having a ball playing the business type villain. I kind of wish he was in a better story. And I'm not sure what Tamsin Gregg is doing in her 2 scenes, but I just love sitting through them. I almost kind of want her to become a companion instead of Adam, or maybe even Rose. Sometimes when I do these reviews, I would like to come up with some changes or a few ideas on how to improve on the stories, but for this story, I have no ideas at all. Apparently there were some changes to the original script which I haven't actually gone into a lot of research about, and I don't want to go further into them here. But the stuff I do know about it would have made this story way more interesting and a little more sense in terms of Adam Mitchell's character. But from what we've actually got, yeah, much like The End of the World, I am not interested in watching it again anytime soon. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm going to forget about it after watching it. The only reason to watch it is to watch it as a setup for a future story, which we'll get to later. But yeah, with its good intentions, Simon Pegg and Tamsin Gregg aside, this episode was a complete bore. And if it wasn't for a setup for a future story, I'd give this episode a definite skip.